What is going on, Internet? Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I teach you how to code and do things that you like to do on your computers every day. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit more about React hooks. What is a sign for a hook? I don't know. It's just something that I kind of just like get my fingers into you. Hooks. New proposal from the React core team, new way to actually do state, side effects, things in your React components. I gave you an introduction about it last week. If you haven't checked out that video already, I encourage you to do so. I think it's pretty good, if I do say so myself, and I am myself, and that's what I say myself. Today, I want to talk to you about custom hooks. This is one of the marquee features of React hooks, the ability to make your own custom hooks. So when React hooks came out, it had a whole bunch of built-in primitive hooks. I talked about two last week: use state, use effect. Well, you can kind of use, and there's many others as well, which I'll talk about some other time, not now. But today what I want to talk about is how with React hooks, the way that they've built them, you can actually take these primitive baseline hooks and actually create your own custom hooks with your own custom functionality. And I want to actually run you through an example today, showing a very pragmatic example really, because there's more special case examples, but I'm not gonna concern you with that because in my day job, the thing that I mostly have to worry about is making API calls. And when I have to worry about the lifecycle methods in a regular class component, that's when it gets me kind of down. And using both hooks and then a custom hook, I'm going to show you how you can go from a very verbose class component making an API call to a function component with hooks to then using your own custom hook to actually make the entire experience as lovely as possible. With that being said, let's dive in. So what I have here right now is a very beautiful page that lets you actually search GitHub for repos. So I can actually type in here React, and it'll search all the GitHub repositories that are related to React in some way. You can click on the link if you want to actually navigate there. How this is being done, I have a base search Wikipedia, search GitHub. That was a previous example when I realized that I couldn't hit the Wikipedia page because of cores. Never mind that, so let's go back here, React. So here I have a very simple form which has an input element that when I submit the input element, it actually updates my state via search, and then this search is then updated on my GitHub search class. And this down here is the meat and potatoes of the component that we're going to be migrating to a function component with hooks. You have here a component to mount, so when it first mounts, I actually have a search prop. I make my request. When the component updates, it's going to make a request as well. And this is one of the big gotchas when you're doing these types of things, is you have to actually do a validation to make sure that you're not going to do the search GitHub API unless the search prop changes. Because if I actually just console log out here, this is what already bit me a few times. So if I save that and actually open up the console here, this runs many times. Bit me a few times, bang two, then two more times, and I was getting rate limited hard, and that's common practice in a React class component to actually have to do this comparison, which sucks. In any case, this works. You see it. It's quite lovely, if I do say so myself. But let's actually take this and turn this into a function component using hooks. So we're going to call this GitHub search function because this is the function version of it. We're going to be passing in the search prop as well. And then we're just going to return the same JSX as we did before, where we have this data. And this data is coming from state in our class component, but in our example, it actually needs to come from a hook. So we're actually going to have this say data, set data, and we're going to say use state, and we're going to have this initial state be an empty array, because that's what we're iterating over. So now let me copy this, make sure that's being done up here. It is. Cool. I'm going to comment this one out. We're going to use this one instead. Let's save that. And it's working as far as I can tell. Great, but nothing's happening because we're not making the API call. And that's what we want to do here is we're going to use the use effect hook to actually make this call. The first argument is the effect we want to run. I'm going to go up here and copy and paste this as well down below. And then here we're just going to actually take the search param directly. We're also going to use the set data from the use state before. And then the response is just going to be the entire array because I'm not really storing an object, I'm just storing the array directly here. And then the second argument of use effect, which is important in our case, is we only want to run this effect when the search parameter changes. And we can simply tell that to the use effect hook right there. So now if we save that and we test this, looks like it's working. Nice. Sweet. That is already a lot cleaner in my opinion, just using hooks to actually cut down on all these edge cases and foot guns that existed before in class components, having to do this comparison. That's handled for us by the second argument. Now that's cool, things are better, but let's say you want to have this search API be reused across other components. You don't really have to, copy and paste this code everywhere. Instead, you can actually make your own custom hook. And a custom hook has to follow the regular hook rules. It has to be a top level invocation. It can't be behind a conditional. But other than that, it has to just start with the word use. So I'm going to say use GitHub search. I'm going to pass in the search parameter. And then this is where things get really cool. I'm going to actually cut all this content, paste it up there, and then I'm going to return data. And then in here, all I can say is I want data equals use GitHub search. I'm going to pass in the search API. That's it. That's it. That's a complete custom hook right here that I could use as many times as I want and as many components as I want throughout my entire application. And that's really where the true power of hooks comes into play, is with the custom hooks, because you can actually create whatever custom hooks that you might need for your application and then use it within your entire application. Custom hooks are so powerful, in fact, that the React core team is trying to actually push more towards there being a central repository online of custom hooks that you can copy and paste into your code base, as opposed to having to npm install all these everywhere, because these hooks are such beautiful primitives that hopefully they're very accessible, so you can actually use them without any fear, and also be able to build on top of them, that you're not going to be constrained to having to just have this separate npm package that you have to pull into your repo and then have to maintain it by that way. Those are custom hooks. They're functions. So whatever you can do with a regular hook, you can put into a custom hook and then reuse that way. Hopefully you learned something today. If you did, let me know down below. I'll catch you again next week.